Is it possible for dogs to be trained to detect viruses like the coronavirus pandemic?
100%. If that odor can be stabilized, you understand, and for a dog to quantify in smell, in odor, trust me, a dog can lead you to COVID-19 patients and carriers. I think there's already efforts in the way to make this happen in the US, because I read some news whereby some scientists are working on a way to quantify or to bring by the odor of COVID-19 and what it's like for COVID-19 patient, because dogs can sense impulses and a temperature change on the skin and indicate and tell you that something is going wrong. Okay, so this is really very easy if that odor can be stabilized and presented, you know, in a form that does not possess harm to the dog nor to the trainer or handler. For a dog, having people line up is enough, and the dog just taking a brief of a sniff and going through. And I'm telling you, those results can almost be 95 to 99% accurate.
In Nigeria today, not everybody is aware of how powerful or how potent having dogs around you can be. But this man, Idowu Abiodun, who's a dog trainer here, has told us that he has dogs here that if he gets odors that can signify COVID-19, that these dogs can actually sniff around and detect people who are carrying the virus in them. That's how far we've heard here today in our visit to this place out here, where we learned that it's a place where dogs are being trained on a regular basis. My name is Damilare Okonla, and you're watching Legit TV yet again. Big shout out to Emmanuel Sodi, the man behind the camera, for bringing you this amazing footage here today. So how did you start dog training? And when did you start?
In honesty with you, dog training for me is almost forever. I think I got my first dog at about the age of 4. I remember very well, it was a local dog called Tiger. And ever since then, I've always owned dogs one way or the other. So becoming a trainer became better along the line. You know, as I get the first dog, I train a bit. The second one, I train better. And so on and so forth, we are here.
So did you get a certification for training dogs, or you just started by yourself?
At first, it was most of gathering experience, but as we come further, it is most requiring that you get a certification. So certification is almost a must once you get at a certain level of dog training, especially when you're trying to train dogs relative to enforcement agencies.
So what certification do you have for?
Well, I don't know if it makes sense to you. We have something we call an utility dog trainer course. This course enhances you to understand what it's like to train walking dogs in very walking dog protocols. And as we speak, and I'm also almost just enrolling for my master dog trainer course.
Right. How many dogs do you have here?
This base is a very small facility. It's a mini base, we call it, so to call it. So it's a facility for a maximum of 20 dogs, because the kennel spacing up about 3 meters in length and then about almost 2 meters in height. So relatively 2 dogs can stay in that, but currently we have 1 dog staying in each. So right now we have about 10 dogs on base and 1 companionship dog. So that's about 11 dogs on base as we speak.
Right. You also train dogs for security outfits, like officially?
Yes. I don't know if giving a mention to this makes a lot of sense. Was it not about 2015 we started a non-for-profit called Canine for Cops in the hope that we can aid enforcement agencies with walking dogs in training capacity, research, among others. Of course, so I train enforcement dogs and security dogs in general.
Okay, so I saw you put some dogs through field drilling sessions earlier. What were those things that you were doing with the dogs?
Yeah, the first dog is a puppy. She's just about a year old. She's a Belgian Malinois by breed type. What we did, what I was trying to do at first was to put her through the paces of directionals in such a way whereby if an officer or an handler has the need for it, you can send the dog around a certain area to investigate what is going on in a certain premise. For example, given this compound, let's say a unit, an enforcement unit is outside trying to know what is inside here. Instead of them risking it all and coming in, they can send a dog that is well weaponized for that service. And just by you saying go right, go left, go straight, the dog can actually go all around, parading the whole environment, you understand, and you having a sight prior to gaining the enforcement unit gaining entrance into such a compound. So it is very sophisticated. It's very sophisticated in the sense that the usage can go very broad, which I can't give all detail with this short interview, of course. But all I can say is it's sophisticated and is much so required for especially the special forces that goes into blind sight, into a whole lot of arms way. It is much so requiring that they have this kind of a training.
The second one was most aggressive of the dogs. Why?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't term it most aggressive. Canine Neptune is a dual-purpose dog that has been trained to detect narcotic substances and a patrol dog at the same time. This dog was fielded at the recently held demonstration back in the police canine unit at Ikeja, where he had to perform almost relative to what he just did today, a little bit more back then though. It's not termed as aggressive. What it's doing is consistent with its job. Okay, when you talk about a patrol dog, a dog that can be of help to a lone handler or to a lone officer, which means an officer can actually have that kind of a dog in the back of his trunk, in the back of his car, and knowing that it's safe and somebody's got his back. Imagine a lone officer trying to make an arrest, and you have somebody who's resisting arrest. With all possible power, it becomes very challenging for such an officer to make that arrest on the instant at the scene. So, but with the help of his canine, just deploying that dog, it's consistent that the dog get a hold of such a person, you understand, and until the officer is able to make a complete arrest. And complete arrest is done when the person is well handcuffed, you understand, without much scene at all, without much harm to the person that is going to be arrested, and with zero harm to the officer who's in charge of that unit or that patrol.
How much does it take to have a dog, a well-trained dog, standard dog? How much does it cost?
Well, standard needs definition. Standard, companionship standard, and if you're saying companionship standard, what kind of training are you talking about? Are you talking about obedience, a family protection dog? There's a whole lot of things you can define standard by. If you say, for example, a dog is a support dog or a therapy dog, there are also certain standards. So in general, your standard is quite general. I wish to know which you would like me to give specific idea about.
I'm saying canine for, when we go cover elections, we see many of these canines.
Right.
So how much does it cost to have one of them?
So those are enforcement type of dogs, being military or police walking dogs. On the average, it depends. It depends on what the dog is capable of, if it's a single purpose or dual purpose. A single purpose will vary between, even if they are trained locally, will vary between maybe 5,000 to 12,000 USD. And then a dual purpose, of course, you look a little bit excess of that.
So it costs a whole lot to have just one dog trained.
It costs a lot. It doesn't cost a lot relative to the services the dog provide. Think about it. How much does it require to run machines and manpower? To go through a stack of load, trying to find out illicit items, contraband items. It's so difficult for human power to do this by itself. But with a dog just strolling by and checking on those baggages, in just about 2-3 minutes, you're done with a stockpile of what could take manpower several hours. So relative to the job, it is not very expensive at all. I think I would just say it's matching for the kind of service the dogs provide to our community.
Right. So I want to believe that you got the dogs here by yourself. How much do you think that's possible to get the dogs?
Well, to get the dogs in cash itself is nothing to raising the dogs. An average puppy, if you want to get a very good, average good walking dog, a puppy between 1,000 to 1,500 euros you can get locally. That's very different talking of having to ship them. If you have to ship them, you are looking at the puppy must be at least 3 months old in order to pass minimum paperwork, like the anti-rabies virus cannot be instituted until the puppy is at least 3 months. All these things constitute a cost. You understand what I mean? Weight of the dog when it's coming in, and you know, shipment logistics could rise that cost to about in excess of 2,500 to 3,000 euros per puppy.
But how did you get these dogs? And did you get some kind of support to assemble the dogs here?
In all honesty, the dogs have been hard-earned cash. I've had to work to get the dogs by myself. There's no support in any regards to this. However, when we started the Canine for Cops program, trying to help the enforcement agencies, I think we launched the program around, it was registered 2015 or stroke 2016. We launched around 2016. We got a little bit of help. There's a man called Charles Bostick. He's a resident in New York, USA. He sent us some equipment, some bite gears like hand sleeves, leg sleeves, the likes of it, which we appreciated very much. He didn't just wish to support the mom. He supported with all he had at the time, but with equipment I mean. So he had the equipment, and somebody else, a person called Dr. David Nati Ademimpe, had to pay for the shipment of the equipment. We all appreciate all of these gestures because you know, going forward, it's an addition. I remember that the first set of agility, the obstacle course we had, was supported by a man called Dr. Shoumi. He lended us a hand of support of $100. We appreciated it. We put it to the best use we could at the time. Yes, these are the support we've received in the past, but acquiring the dogs has been personal. Training them has been most of personal spending.
I'm going to ask you, why are you training dogs? I mean, people will look at you and say, this guy is wasting his time. Why can't you be training dogs in Nigeria here?
Yeah.
Why are you training dogs?
First of all, I've always loved dogs a lot. Ever since I can understand that I'm a human being, I've already had dogs. I remember going on a village visit with my dad, and I saw some set of puppies coming to, just winding around the farm, which was our host. And then I insisted on picking one of them, even though they were so young. They were too young to be picked up. About 3 weeks thereabout, I picked them and kept up with the board, and I raised that dog to be a very good adult dog. So I've always loved dogs a lot, and even so that I have a bit of medical background as per schooling, I think my devotion to training dogs has given me a whole lot of leeway, and especially being happy with what you do. We all know there's a saying that says having to work with your passion and not have to work at all. That has it has given me a little bit of something I'll call achievement. And some people might regard that as not being serious, but you know, we're in different strokes for different folks, and then we're in different lane. I understand what I want from this, and being able to make impact is what it is for me in general. And that we are now offering aid and support to the police, that's an achievement to me. And it really may not sound well to anybody else outside this scope, but that would not really so much matter. Like I think it was last year, we donated a dog to the Nigerian police, to their Ikeja police canine unit. You know, these are things that gives me, a passionate person about dogs, to say, okay, to signal that, oh, you're in the right path, and keep doing that.